Muscarella here at JLC Live with Michael Anshel from Verified Green. We're going to be looking at some of the green initiatives here on the JLC floor today. What should we be looking out for, Michael?
Well, you know, there's really no such thing as a green building product. And so what we're going to be looking for are products that have attributes that we might consider to be green and products that contribute to green strategies. So things that are made with environmentally preferable materials, things that are durable, and things that in a life cycle analysis would have a lower cost. So that kind of stuff.
That sounds great. Let's go on the show floor and check out and see what we can find.
We talk about durability concerns in the house. As we start to button up the house and make it more energy efficient, we also have to be worried about the amount of moisture that we're bottling up in the house and the opportunity for air exchange. And so one of the things that we can do is use an inline fan that will put subtle depressurization on the entire home and get air exchange. But then the question is, well, how do we make sure that that's happening, and how do we get the homeowner to not go in there and change the controls? And Rob's got a great product. Can you tell us a little bit about this control and how it works with your product?
Sure, we can. The fans we have now are 100% speed controllable. So what that means is that we can take a fan like this and run it at a much lower fan speed for the consumer and give that low-level background ventilation to make sure we're ventilating the structure at a rate set up by the installing contractor, but one that's also beneficial from a health perspective for the homeowner. So a control like this basically has a little slider switch on it that you can take and you can set the percentage of runtime for the fan or the speed of the fan. Okay. So if I had a 100 CFM fan and I wanted to run it at 10% of its capacity, I slide this down to roughly 10%. I have 10 CFM, and that's a constant run. Now if I want to run that for 60 minutes out of every hour, basically full time, I slide this to 60 minutes. If I want to select a different run time, maybe 50% of the fan's capacity, but have it come on for 15 minutes out of every hour, I could set that here as well.
Can they still use the same fan to get the moisture out of the house as well as bringing that fresh air in?
Absolutely, and that's the advantage of an inline fan, is that one fan can be ducted to multiple locations, and you're going to have the same switch sitting in the bathroom location with the cover plate on it, where they'd go into the bathroom, press the button, it'll now go to high speed for 20 minutes, ventilate that, and then run right back down into the cycle you had it set at. And
they won't even know that it's running at that low speed, will they? They can't even, they won't really be able to hear it or be aware of it.
That's correct. An inline fan, such as the one you have there, is a 19-watt fan that goes up in an attic. It's away from the earshot, if you will, and so you'll never know the fan's even on.
Thanks a lot for your help, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Michael, we were just looking at that demonstration.
Yep.
And he was showing us the framing stuff.
He was showing us a framing member. It's used in construction for a wall. And what's really cool about that product is it has an integrated thermal bypass right in the material.
So what's the significance of that for your home?
Well, thermal bypass is where we lose energy through conduction. Imagine if you went out and you touched something that was metal and it was cold, and your hand starts to get cold.
Right.
That's because energy is being drawn from your hand into that object. And the same is true for a home. When we look at a house through an infrared camera, we can see each and every stud. And that's the heat that's being lost through conduction through the stud to the exterior. So by installing a thermal bypass, an area of high resistance, in this case a piece of foam, as that energy is traveling through the wall, it meets this area of high resistance, it slows down, and energy loss to the house is reduced. So this is an energy efficiency strategy in green building.
How can we have a green roof?
Well, one of the ways that we can be greener in our roofing strategies is to think about the life of the roof that's protecting our structure, right? We put all this money into this really gorgeous, expensive home, and then we maybe cover it with something that's going to last 15, 20, 30 years. It's destroyed in the first storm. That doesn't seem like a good strategy to me. No. So we like to talk about lifetime roofing products, things that will last for a while, like this piece of steel.
Okay.
Now this piece of steel roofing is not only is I think it's a pretty good looking piece of
yeah, definitely.
But this is going to resist hail. This is going to resist most types of weather. It's going to perform better in wind shear conditions, and most importantly, if it were ever to get damaged, this is going to go right back into the recycling stream that already exists. Steel is something that we recycle on a routine basis, and this is going to have a place to go rather than ending up in the landfill like some of those asphalt products. Now, Joel, there's some other great things about your particular material here.
Well, in this particular panel, or all the panels that we have, it all comes out of steel that's 75% recycled. So most of the 75% of the steel that we're manufacturing with is recycled steel. This particular panel goes under the Energy Star and the cool colors, which represents a $1,500 rebate. 30% of your roof up to $1,500 you get a tax rebate on. So, and you can't get that with a lot of other roofing products. So.
So Michael, we've seen a lot of interesting products here today, but what can we take away from the show?
Well, we saw materials that help us with energy efficiency, like that thermal bypass stud. And we saw materials that provide a good alternative to protecting our homes, that are more durable, that don't end up in the landfill. We saw products that help us control indoor environmental quality, remove moisture, get good air exchange with something as simple as a little control attached to a fan in a house.
So what are we going to see next year at the show?
Well, gosh, next year I would really like to see more and more manufacturers here at the table with products that help us with addressing the many strategies that we need to deal with in green building, from products that have a better life cycle strategy, to non-toxic products, to products that continue to help us with energy efficiency.
And what if we don't see that next year?
Well, I don't know if it's so much of an option. I think that the market is shifting in a way that green building is going to be a requirement. And if there are manufacturers who continue to deny that green building is really the only way that we're going to be allowed to build in the future, they're missing out on a huge opportunity. And for all those remodelers who are out there trying to make it happen, who are continually frustrated because they can't find the right materials on the market, again, they're missing a huge segment of the market that's looking for those materials. So I really think that manufacturers are going to step up to the plate. I'm optimistic that next year at JLC Live, we're going to see some really great products out here.
Great, I'm optimistic too. This is Lauren Muscarella here at JLC Live. We'll see you next year.